And once again, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Ana Martina. I'm the Membership Director of the U.S. Federation of Workers Cooperatives. And I'm here with my two co-workers.
Hi, my name is Kate. I'm the Membership Coordinator with the USFWC.
Hi, my name is Mo Manklang. I am the Communications Director and lead of policy initiatives of the Federation.
Right. So we wanted to share with you today a little bit about the work that the Federation has been doing, how we are serving our membership, the organizing work that we're doing, and we're really excited to share some of these since we just wrapped our conference program for the year. Last year we have a really successful ECWD in Baltimore, so we're really excited to share some of the work that we're doing, and that's a little bit about the motivation for this presentation today. Mel, can you pass it to the next one, please? So the U.S. Federation of Worker Cooperatives, we are the only national grassroots membership organization for worker cooperatives in the U.S. We represent worker cooperatives in democratic workplaces, and we work in collaboration with the Democracy at Work Institute. Our mission is to build a thriving cooperative movement of stable, empowering jobs through worker ownership. We advance worker-owned, managed, and governed workplaces through cooperative education, advocacy, and development. And today we're going to be sharing how we are doing this, and we're going to go a little bit more in deep into our program. Our partnership with DAWI is very intentional in the way that DAWI works in collaboration with us to support the research, to understand how we can, what are the strategies that we can have to grow the movement, what are the opportunities, and then also, to develop educational resources. Next one, please. So today we're going to be talking about who do we represent, how do we organize the worker cooperative movement. We're going to talk about how we are cultivating a strong connections in our convening through our conferences and in-person gatherings. We're going to be talking about how we are assisting organizations and worker cooperatives through our technical assistance and fee-for-service programs, co-op clinics. We are going to be talking about how the work that we're doing, not just for the membership, but then also for the general public to advance opportunities towards cooperative development through our work in policy and advocacy. And then we're going to be talking more about the many other benefits that we offer through the membership. So let's get started. So who do we represent? Every year we conduct an annual economic census. It's a survey that we put together, and we send it to the businesses that we have been able to track. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to see who are all the worker cooperatives and democratic workplaces in the country. We do a very diligent work in trying to track every time when we are seeing something in the news, and then also, of course, every time that we are meeting somebody in our convening, so somebody is introducing or reaching out. So currently, we have an estimate of more than 500 worker cooperatives and democratic workplaces in the States. And so what you're seeing right now on your screen, if you are connecting to a video conference, a map of where are these worker cooperatives located in the States. So there are different color key indicators in the map that you're seeing, and I'm just going to be a little bit descriptive because I know some people is calling in. So we have a key indicator in red that is indicating how the number of businesses in a specific area. The color blue is indicating where it's being changed in the last 5 years. As I was mentioning, we conduct this research every year. So we are keeping track of the growth and the differences and what is changing. And there is a little indicator with the letters WTO that stands for Workers to Owners, a collaborative. that has been working under the leadership of the Democracy at Work Institute to support traditional businesses. They are exploring converting to the worker ownership model through worker cooperatives. So gonna mention some examples, for instance, of the map that we're looking at the screen right now. So in New York, you can see, I don't know if the screen is too small for you, but we have about 55 businesses in the area in New York that have been developed in the last 5 years. And this is thanks to the work of many organizers that have been advocating in the New York area, New York City, to basically being able to access financial resources to be able to support the development of worker cooperatives. So a lot of these businesses are actually pretty new within the last 5 years. And in contrast, if we go to the West Coast, in the Bay Area, we have also another 55 businesses there. Those 55 are actually a combination of new, but then also some of the oldest and well-established worker cooperatives in the States. Some examples, for example, the Arismendi cooperatives, the bakeries, the ones that have been developed by the Arismendi Association, and then also Rainbow Food Co-op. Then we have also other interesting numbers, in Minneapolis with 10 cooperatives, and Madison, we're going to be seeing this changing a lot in the next couple of years since MadWork, which is a regional network there, is doing very important work to support the development of new businesses. So just to kind of give you a little bit of an overview of the sector in the States. And then maybe if we can go to the next one, Mo, please. From those ones, we represent more than 200 businesses. So we are talking about, close to the 50% of worker cooperatives in the States. Our membership includes worker cooperatives, startup worker cooperatives, conversions that, as I was mentioning, our businesses are exploring their transition into the worker co-op model, democratic workplaces, cooperative developers, federation partners, which are networks they are supporting in specific regions, and then associates that can be technical assistance providers. So this is just also a slide of the representation for all these different regions in the north, in the south, the east, and the west. In our board, which is a number of 9 members, 4 of those seats are regional representatives, and in this slide, we're just seeing the current representatives by region. This year, we celebrated our at-large elections. So we just elected 5 seats, and next year we're going to be running our regional elections. So we will keep you posted in case of you want to learn more about our elections and representation. Next one, please. All right. So how do we organize? Going back to, so as I was mentioning, we work a lot in collaboration with local networks and local chapters, local affiliates. So there are different networks that are being formed in different regions across the country, and we've been very intentional in our partnership with these networks, since they are already running programs to support the worker cooperatives or the development of new businesses in the area. So, for example, No Boss in the Bay Area, the network of the Bay Area, in Philadelphia, PACA, New York, Knick-Knock, in Madison, MadWork. All of these regional networks are doing work to put together programming, and it depends their capacity. Some of them have staff, some of them are volunteers, but their goal is to try to support the region, and we try to work in collaboration with them, sometimes bringing together programming, sometimes supporting on their admin side, but definitely always being in communication to try to see how we can support the work that they're doing, and definitely a lot in the work that we do in advocacy. Next one, please. All right. So how do we organize the membership? We have different member-led spaces where we try to convene the membership to try to have these conversations, they're relevant, and these spaces are facilitated by staff of the Federation and by members also. So I'll just have Mel to talk a little bit about the Union Co-op, the work that happens in the Union Co-op, and the policy and advocacy, since that's the two spaces where you are involved.
Sure. So, you know, one of the greatest parts of what we do is pulling people together around different kind of like focus areas. One of the ones that I work on is the Union Cooperative Council, and that is really looking at the intersection between traditional labor unions and worker co-ops. There's a lot of really exciting conversations happening right now, you know, especially as we're trying to like really, you know, we're very much in alignment with the values of the labor movement and centering workers and making sure that we're creating workplaces that are healthy for not just the worker but also their family. And so that council meets monthly. We also have an executive committee that's led by the members that is making sure that we're focusing on the areas that the membership really wants to be talking about. And then we also have the Policy and Advocacy Council. So as I said, I am the policy lead for the Federation, and that includes work at the federal, state, and local levels. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but in a little bit. But the focus of the member council is to understand like what are the priorities of worker co-ops. What do you as members want for the Federation to be focusing on in terms of advocacy of legislation that we want passed, how to build relationships with government representatives. So we have this space to talk about how we're organizing, how we're strategizing, and how we're prioritizing policy and advocacy work. So right now, we're meeting once a month, but actually in 2020, we're going to be shifting to having 2 meetings because there's so much going on across the country. It's really exciting. So we're going to have, on the first Thursday of every month, a meeting to talk about organizing, like what's happening in different cities, different regions, different states, at the federal level, to give updates and help people to understand like the picture of what's going on. And then we're going to have meetings on the third Thursdays, primarily for members, where we're going to be doing strategy. So we're going to be, you know, like working out educational materials. We're going to be planning webinars, and we're going to be prioritizing what are the legislative priorities for worker co-ops across the country, and also the work that's in alignment with our advocacy partners.
Thanks, Mo. So I am involved with the Movimiento de Inmigrantes en Cooperativas, as well with the Racial and Economic Justice Council. So the Movimiento de Inmigrantes en Cooperativas is a space that we've been facilitating for the last 3 years. And it's open to folks that are interested in learning more about worker cooperatives. The meetings have been happening mostly in Spanish. This last year, we celebrated our first in-person gathering at our national conference in Los Angeles. And this year, we just celebrated our second gathering, the ECWD in Baltimore, where we were creating some of the strategic planning for the vision of the Movimiento within immigrant communities. The Racial and Economic Justice Council, we've been meeting also for the last 3 years. And this year, we put together 2 webinars, one to just show a little bit about the worker cooperative and the connections, the overlaps and potential collaborations with other social justice movements. And the second webinar that we put together, it was showcasing some of the work that some organizations, social justice organizations, been doing and how they've been using the model of worker cooperatives to advance their mission and vision. Next one, please, Mo. All right, peer networks. So we've been facilitating also peer networks. Mel, do you want to start with the conversions one?
Sure. So the conversions is actually a really interesting one. So we know that there are a lot of businesses, an increasing percentage of the kinds of worker co-ops that exist across the country that are converting from a traditional business workplace to the worker co-op model. So this is a space that is, it's constantly iterating actually. So we're trying to figure out what are the needs of different kinds of businesses. Is it opportunities for worker owners within those conversions to talk to each other? Is it a space for people who are interested in converting their business to talk to each other and learn from business owners who have already sold their businesses? So this is kind of like the peer-to-peer networking opportunity for people to just learn what it means to translate your business from that traditional model to worker co-op.
Thanks, Mel. The Keystone is formed by the largest and oldest worker cooperatives in the country in our membership. So the intention to bringing together these cooperatives was, in one way for the Federation to learn how best we can be supporting these businesses, since their needs are very, very different from a startup or conversion. Some of these worker cooperatives, as I was mentioning, they're large. They've been around for a really long time, so their needs will be more focused sometimes on how to keep members engaged, how to create a path for leadership when some of the founding members, being around for a long time, and it's challenging sometimes for new members to get engaged. So that's just like an example. And at the same time, we wanted to definitely try to tap into the experience and resources and expertise of these cooperatives to support the larger worker cooperative movement. And then this year we start facilitating peer networks based on industry. Kate is in facilitating the farm worker cooperative peer network.
Yeah, so I think one thing that's really exciting about the peer networks that are industry focused, which is what we're going to talk about now, is that so much of the work that we can do as a cooperative movement has to do with being a worker co-op in general, but so much of the struggles we have as a business has to do with the particular industry we're in. And so I think that these peer networks are a really unique opportunity for folks that share an industry and are structured as co-ops can get together and talk about the industry specifics, which is invaluable, and not something that we can't be an expert in every industry. And so the sort of peer coaching model that we're using in the peer networks has been really valuable. And so one of the more recent peer networks that we started was the worker co-op farm peer network, which is a peer network of farms that are worker owned. And so it's been a really amazing space for skill sharing. We've mainly used that space to do rotating presentations and discussions on different topics that affect worker co-op farms. And more recently, we've been talking a lot about self-care on the farm. And how to run a business, run a democratically owned business and a farm and still find time for self-care. We've also been discussing strategies for time management and task management in the farm setting with a worker co-op structure. And in the coming months, we'll be talking a lot more about leasing land, about assets, and about the financial aspects of running a farm, which is an incredibly competitive and difficult industry. And so that's been a space, I think, that has provided a lot of support to worker co-op farms, both on the technical front and also on the psychological, spiritual front, just knowing that there's other farmers who are doing similar things out there across the country, who are experiencing similar struggles and yeah, so that's what we're doing with the worker co-op farm, and we meet 4 times a year. And I see someone on the call that's interested in worker co-op farms, so if you can message me privately with your contact information, and I can put you in touch with the peer network.
Thanks, Kay. We also been facilitating the conversation among tech worker cooperatives. Since last year, we convened these folks in the gathering in LA, and since then we've been facilitating the conversation. This year, the network is starting to work in their points of unity, their criteria for the membership, and just to write, what are the priorities for this group. So it's been very successful, and I think that we have seen that different shops now are starting to pass work to each other, which in the tech industry, it is convenient in a way. All of these workplaces already are working remotely, so it's been also a space to build a little bit of solidarity and just like to share some of the experience and opportunities for exchange best practices among these workplaces. And I think it's really, open to our membership to let us know, if there are specific needs or an interest in organizing a peer network, then, we can support with the platforms and that sort of thing to make that happen too. So it's definitely like member informed interest. Next one, Mel. Thank you. So how do we support organizations and worker cooperatives? We organized, as we were mentioning, some gatherings through the year. And Kate was with us this year for the first time in the ECWD. If you want to just share some of the programs that we've run together. Sure. Was anybody, just so you guys know, those of you that are on the phone, you can hit *6 to unmute yourselves. We put everybody on mute just for the recording audio quality, but we will have a Q&A section, but if you are on a phone, you can unmute by hitting *6. If you're on the computer, you can just hit unmute. Did anybody get to attend the ECWD? I see some folks who are at the Eastern Conference on the call, so wondering if we can get a shout out from any of those folks that participated in the regional conferences this year. All right, maybe not. Got some shy folks, but I see some of you that were out there. If you'd like to shout out some of the things you liked about the conference, put it in the chat. So we organize these regional convenings. They're super valuable spaces and really invigorating spaces to get trained up and connect with the worker co-op movement. And so this, on even years, we do the national conferences. So last year, in 2018, we ran, we co-organized with Dowie the national conference out of Los Angeles. This coming year, we'll be doing the national conference out of Philadelphia, where the three of us find ourselves. And this year, on the odd years, we do our regional-based conferences, which are generally the Eastern Conference for Workplace Democracy and the Western Worker Co-op convenings, which we ran out of organized in the Bay Area and in Washington State this year. And those are spaces where we do skill building, so workshops about technical skills for worker co-ops, spaces to do strategic planning around advocacy and other areas for our co-op movement, and spaces to do connecting and building amongst people who share industries and who are sharing similar struggles and challenges in their co-ops. And so, yeah, check it out for next year. We hope to see you in Philadelphia. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, the conferences are just great spaces for people to access a number of trainings and also for conversations that can happen just in person for doing a strategic planning. So, yeah, we hope to see people next year in Philadelphia. And also our members get a discount to attend these convenings. Next one, please, Mo.
Oh, I also want to give a shout out to everyone in the picture that you're seeing on the screen right now. This is actually at the Eastern Conference, and it's a celebration of all the worker co-ops and co-op related organizations that were celebrating a momentous anniversary. So it was, I think, 15 years for the Federation. It was a lot of 10-year anniversaries and 40-year anniversaries for Shared Capital. So it is a really nice moment to kind of bring everybody together and celebrate. And here's trainings in TA.
Thank you, Mo. So yeah, as I was mentioning, we do a lot of work also. We have developed for years lots of resources and curriculum with support from the Democracy at Work Institute, but then also through the expertise from worker owners that also contribute to supporting the formation of new worker cooperatives, to templates and best practices. So we offer technical assistance and support, in-person facilitation and remote facilitation as well through our fee-for-service program, Co-op Clinic. We do have, as I was mentioning, like a very extensive curriculum, bilingual curriculum in English and Spanish. And here we're just seeing a picture of one of the facilitations that we did this year in Arizona, where a new group is forming an ecosystem to support the development of worker cooperatives there. So this training that we did, it was a bilingual one. We have some interpretation there. We do also a lot of referrals. This is to other technical assistance providers, to accountants, to attorneys that can support also with the bylaw formation. We do also that kind of work through the Co-op Clinic. But when we can't, we will do referrals also for people so that they can work with people in the region. We offer discounts to our members as well. So we have different sliding scale fees, but our members always get priority discounts for these trainings. And we do also a lot of online trainings, workshops, webinars. Some of them are monthly happening, and some of them are free. Some of them we ask for a donation. Some of them have a cost, but once again, we always prioritize members with discounts. Next one.
Yeah, so another amazing opportunity through the Federation and in collaboration with DOWI is DOWI's School for Democratic Management. It's a school that does a lot of online webinars and web series around democratic management skills, how to build a strong culture of ownership amongst co-ops, governance, how to build out your governance structure for your cooperative. And so they do a lot of that online with professionals and folks, with instructors who are experienced co-op managers. And then they also are, as of last year, running a certificate program for folks to get certified in democratic management, which is a week-long in-person school that this year they did at Rutgers University. And those are programs that the Federation members have access to for significant discounts and are great spaces, I think, for especially new worker owners in your co-ops, and also folks that have been in co-ops for a long time and could use a skills brush up to get engaged and go deeper in thinking about and building the skills needed to manage and run a co-op democratically.
Thank you, Kate. Next one.
All right. So the next way that we kind of support worker co-ops that I mentioned before was that we do a lot of policy and advocacy work, and this has been a really growing thing. We thought that this was going to be a little kind of like a small piece of what we were doing for a little while, or that we would focus on local and state strategies, but we actually have been doing a lot of work at all of those levels. So we do national advocacy on behalf of worker ownership, worker co-ops, usually in tandem with some of our partners like the National Cooperative Business Association, and we do advocacy and lobbying for local policy and advocacy priorities. So, for instance, at the federal level, a lot of that stuff is driven by the staff and is informed by the membership. So, through our council, we understand like what is it that people want to be working on, and then we work with federal level legislators to push bills like the Main Street Employee Ownership Act, which passed last year, and it was the first bill that ever focused on worker co-ops, which is really, really exciting. So, and since then, it's been kind of like a snowball that is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger of different work. The picture that you're seeing on the screen right now is from our first Hike the Hill Day, which was we took I want to say like 15 people to Capitol Hill in Washington. We organized 3 different groups where we met with 16 representatives from different offices across the country. So this particular one was with the Office of Kirsten Gillibrand, who was the kind of like the main sponsor for the Main Street Employee Ownership Act, and that really is just fighting for worker co-ops to gain parity and education and outreach and access to financial options that through the Small Business Administration. And then in addition to that, we work with our regional partners, like the ones that Ana Martina was talking about. So we work with PACA or NOBOS or I remember the Sustainable Economies Law Center. We work with organizations to advocate for state level legislation and for local legislation. So any member can actually just call me up and say like, hey, I'm really interested in putting forward a piece of legislation in my local area. What do I do? What should I prioritize? How do I talk to people? That kind of stuff. And that's the work that we do. We help to provide advice, work out plans. It's really exciting. And like I said, we do a lot of that in coordination with our movement partners. So it's an ever-growing portion of the work that we do. It's very exciting, and we're interested in not just focusing on worker co-ops, but also in different industries, figuring out how we can support people, through legislation around home care or child care or solar priorities. So things like that. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about policy and advocacy. And then I can just keep rolling, actually, to talk about, some of our other benefits. We have a lot of different ways that we engage and promote worker co-ops. If you're technologically inclined, we have a communication platform called Slack. It's basically like a chat system. It's open to members and non-members. So if you're interested, you can email info@usworker.coop. And you can join conversations. Basically, we have it set up so that you can talk to anyone who's a part of our worker co-op community that's also using Slack, and then you can tap into conversations that are more specific. So like one around energy or around conversions or around, I know that the tech workers have their own kind of a private channel. So it's actually really interesting to see how conversations can develop online. We also promote and visibilize worker co-ops. So we're, a rapidly growing field, and it's sometimes hard to keep up with. So the picture of the kind of like the purple book that you're seeing right there, that is our very newly printed directory of worker co-ops in democratic workplaces across the country. So we maintain a list of not only the worker co-ops, but also the service providers and the cooperative developers who help to incubate and support those businesses. We keep track of them in our directory. We publish it every other year. And then we also promote worker co-ops through social media channels. So it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We send out regular newsletters. And we are always really just looking to make sure that people know and understand the great work that y'all are doing. So it's really cool. The Worker Ownership Fund, that's a partnership that we have with Shared Capital Cooperative, and that basically it's a fund specifically for worker co-ops, and like we're always in communication with our partner, Shared Capital Cooperative, to figure out how to support worker co-ops in getting access to funds. So there's some technical assistance that can happen there, and there's also just we want to help promote the idea that there is this fund that exists specifically for worker co-ops. And then the last thing that I'll talk about is that we have this Federation Perks program, and it's through our partner Ivana, and And basically what that does is it gets you access to cheap movie tickets, cheap car rentals, hotels. It's kind of one of those like discount services, and it's just an added benefit of Federation membership. I know that I've taken advantage of it. Whenever I go to the movies, it gets you a couple dollars off, which is, you know, every dollar means a lot. So it's always good to have in your back pocket. And I'm going to let Ana Martina talk about coordination with our international movement partners.
Yeah, thank you, Mo. Yeah, we do. We're members of NCBA and CICOPA as well. So the work that we do with CICOPA, is like I was mentioning, is the Global Alliance for Worker Cooperatives. And we are in contact with other federations in other countries. For instance, for the last 2 years, we've been trying to convene the North America Regional Chapter. So we've been meeting with members from the Federation in Canada and in Mexico. And we're trying to find, just like the ways and how we can collaborate with sharing some curriculum, and sharing opportunities for collaboration. We've been able to also send some board members to convenings in Cuba this year, Puerto Rico, to Mexico as well. Last year, we were able to attend the meeting of CICOPA in Argentina. So this is like very relevant, actually, because I think that it is really putting in perspective, right, like the importance of the worker cooperative movement, not just in the States, but in collaboration with other movements abroad. And, it's been an opportunity to understand how, the support from the cities, from the governments has been happening in other countries. What is the curriculum that they've been developing, what are the policy strategies that they've been advancing. So it's been very interesting. And of course, like the value for our members, it is to try to access some resources and experience from other worker cooperatives across, like the globe. So it has been a really interesting space for organizing, and we also been trying to do some work to create solidarity among different movements. We've been putting together statements to support cooperatives. They're being organized in the north region of Syria, and then also to the Federation in Chile and some other efforts of people that is trying to create, different alternatives for economic access for people that have been marginated to participate in the economy. Next one.
All right. So one of our coolest programs and most exciting programs is are ones that are related to health, and actually, even more broadly, it's related to insurance. So, we know that it is really difficult for small businesses across the country to gain access to insurance programs that are reasonable to get rates and networks for any kind of insurance that are actually helpful to typical small business owners. So a few years ago, we started offering this program. We listened to the members and we said, hey, what would be most helpful for us to work on? And resoundingly, it was health. And so we rolled out this dental program in 2017. And then we rolled out a vision program in 2018. And then we've been piloting also this general health insurance program for the last year or so. That works in certain states, not all of them, but in the states that we're able to find comparable or good rates or better networks, we're making sure that people know that they can go through the Federation to gain access to these insurance programs. And then in addition, this year we're adding disability, which is kind of a good extra benefit on top of any insurance that you might have, and the same for accident insurance. So these are all kind of new programs that we're piloting and figuring out the best way to serve our members. And what that looks like is, we provide access to these services, and there's a premium for each person. What we do is we group them by workplace, and then we sign a contract and we send a monthly invoice that's in the amount of, the coverage for every person at your organization, and then you review the charges, pay the invoice, and then you bill that to the workers through your payroll system. So right now we're actually in the middle of open enrollment, which is going to December. There's a little bit of flexibility there between December 8th and December 11th. And then anybody who hasn't enrolled can enroll during that time, whether you are an organization that has already been a part of the program, or if your business is looking to get coverage, you can join as a member. It works for all membership classes, including associates, although associates have a little bit of an added a facet to it, in that we require a minimum of $500 in dues from associate members. But it's really easy. We view our role as making it easy to understand, or at least having somebody that you can call at any time and say, hey, I'm having an issue and I don't know how to deal with it, and then us trying to figure out who's the right person for you to talk to, working through issues with you, making sure that issues are resolved. So that's happening right now, and we're always excited to talk to new organizations. You can reach out to us at benefits@usworker.coop, and all this information will be sent to you after the webinar. But that's one of the really exciting things that we're happy to be able to provide to our members, so that you can concentrate on your business.
Thank you, Mo. I'm going to turn to this screen for a second. So yeah, that's, like in a quick overview of the work that we're doing. As I was mentioning, we have the different programs. We're trying to make this accessible to people. I forgot to mention that one of the programs that we run also for general public, we host a monthly webinar for startup businesses. For those organizations or individuals that are interested in learning more about worker cooperatives, they might have an idea, they need to support to, just to understand what is the path towards forming a cooperative. This monthly webinar, it's an hour, and we basically have like a roadmap towards forming a worker cooperative, and it's a great resource for those ones that really, can have access to a lot of resources. There are printed resources, or documents that you can read, but actually to talk to a person. The webinar is facilitated by Daniela Rañaga, one of our coworkers that runs the Co-op Clinic program, and it is a good resource, and it's available to everybody. So if you're curious about it, you can go to our website, usworker.coop, to sign up for the next one. The Co-op Clinic, that I was mentioning, and I'm just going to mention some upcoming events. In December 2nd, we're going to be having the Co-op Hour that is going to be hosting some of the members of the peer network.
Yeah, and that's the Co-op Hours are just a space where we invite folks in worker co-ops to talk about the work that they're doing. So if you're excited about or interested in anything related to food justice, agricultural justice, and worker co-op farms, we're going to hear from some really awesome folks who have been building their worker co-op farms on that day. So that's open to anybody who's interested in the topic on December 2nd. And you can register on the website.
Yeah, and then also, as Mo was mentioning, the open enrollment, it's happening now. So if you're interested to learn more, if you want to know more about it, you can always send an email to info@usworker.coop. And the open enrollment is going to be happening until December 8th. So now is the time. If you have a question, feel free to reach out. And And then, as I was mentioning, some of the resources that we have compiled with support from the Democracy at Work Institute, these resources are available to everybody. So you can just go to DAWI's website, institute.coop, and look for the resources. There's a library that you can search where you can download templates, you can download presentations. We have resources in English and Spanish. And all of these resources are free to whoever who wants to learn more about work at cooperatives.
Yeah, and I can't stress this enough, like if you are, a lot of folks on here are doing startups or in the idea phase, like, you know, my worker co-op, I came to the Federation from a worker co-op. I was a worker owner, and you know, so many of the conversations that we have were guided by resources that we got from this DAWI guide. So literally it's organized by issue or by work, like topic area. So if you're looking, like Ana Martina said, for templates for your bylaws, for the pro forma template to calculate patronage dividends, like that stuff is all there, so you all don't have to reinvent the wheel. And it's a really incredible resource that took a long, long time to put together and with the Federation and DAWI, and so please do take advantage of it. And yeah, if you want, need help navigating it or have questions about what's there, again, you can always email us or reach out to us, and we can help you to find stuff in there too.
Yeah, and as I was mentioning too, you know, some of the templates that we have there are also being shared from members that, you know, members are, I feel like this community is like really, you know, center and really, uplifting the value of cooperation. Like members are really always willing to share, you know, their resources, their documents, their bylaws, sometimes their operating agreements, because they recognize how difficult it is to start a business in your own. So a lot of the templates are also being shared by members. And we have a, you know, a library there that you can see right now on the screen. And then, as I was mentioning, also like through our website and the Co-op Clinic, also you can request an initial consultation. There is an intake that you can complete if you want to know more about the program. And lastly, you know, we wanted to invite you to join the Federation. Like, as I was saying, right, like we wanted to put together this webinar now, almost at the end of the year, because we just wrapped our programs with the ECWD. We did get to visit a lot of our members and to meet a lot of really amazing people that have great ideas. They're working to bring their community to economical participation in the regions. So it is a good time right now. The cooperative movement has been really building on this momentum. We've been having like a really amazing wins in terms of policy. So it is a really great time to join the Federation, whether you are a starting business, established worker cooperative, and you need to access resources support. You can also become an individual supporter, and this really helps us to put together, you know, the resources we are offering for free. So it's a really great time to join the movement right now. Yeah, I don't know if you have any other things to add.
Yeah, I would just say that I think one thing that's really, really special about the Federation is how significantly, like the membership. We are a grassroots member-led organization, and that's really true. Like the dues that folks pay through their worker co-ops and through the institutions that you all are a part of are what keep this work sustainable and keep this movement going on the national level. And the work that we've just chatted with you all about is literally funded by the members. So yeah, so it's exciting that we really are able to be a member-driven, member-led organization, and yeah, we invite you to find out more about becoming a member and helping to sustain this work long term.
Yeah, so we have a very few minutes left. I don't know if you want to take a couple of questions from the chat from people.
There's no chat questions as of now, so it would just be if folks want to call up.
Okay.
Yeah, so You can either pop any questions that you have into the chat, or you can unmute and share them directly into the webinar.
Okay. So we wanted to thank people to, take the time to attend this webinar. We really wanted to share the work that we're doing, and we wanted to try to explain and, and just with tangible examples, the work that we're doing, because like sometimes when we're talking about education, convenings, networking, policy and advocacy, it's sort of like difficult to really understand all the work that we do. So we just wanted to take the opportunity today to actually walk through all the different areas of our work. So thank you so much for attending the webinar today. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions at info@usworker.coop. You're going to also visit our website for more information, usworker.coop. And yeah, we will be posting the webinar in our website. And if you wanted to access also the presentation, we might be emailing that. So yeah, thank you so much for attending. Have a good night.